Hello, everyone. Welcome to Donna's Happy Hour. Today, I am at Iconic Images Gallery in Boonton, New Jersey, and the owner of that is David Pucciarelli, who is a very dear friend and a fantastic artist. And this weekend, he had an event which included the Amy Winehouse Foundation, but also as a special guest appearing at the event was Elise Testone. And Elise has been playing and singing since she was just a little girl. And she used to make songs up and later on actually started writing and composing music. But I have to tell you that not only has she done that since she was very young, but she actually was in the top 10 on the 2012 American Idol. So grab your drinks, whatever they may be, because I'm hoping you'll spend the next hour with me.
This is the title track off my first album called In This Life. I foresee what I want here in this life. No, I don't need to give you any of my time if you don't deserve it. I know better than to serve you. I come by what I want in this life. I foresee what I want here in this life. I'm so tired, I'm wasting my time if you don't deserve it. I know better than to serve you. I come by what I want in this life. Well, I am searching for some peace in this life. Gonna follow what my heart believes is all I try. And I ain't got no time for fussing with the phony brother, and no time for a false lover. I come by what I want in this life. Giving all I can to this life. You know I can be a real good friend if you do me right, but don't waste my time with your business and selfish pleasure. I know how to measure what you ain't. I come by what I want in this life. See what I want here in this life. I'm so tired, so damn tired. I'm wasting my time now, sugar, if you don't deserve it. I know better than to serve you. I come out what I want in this life. Come out what I want in this life. Oh, I come out what I want in this life. Oh, say I come by what I want in this life. Oh.
Elise, I want to thank you so much for joining me. Yes. I know it was a crazy, busy weekend for you, but once I heard you, I said, oh my my gosh, I got to get her on my show. So tell me, you said that you started performing at a young age, right? So you would go to what, like VFWs or nursing homes,
No,
or?
no. When I was young, I took singing lessons, so they had a bunch of recitals.
Okay.
But also, my friend in town, we used to play at some of the Barnes and Nobles, like
Okay.
coffee nights or open jam sessions.
Okay.
And then we actually had a couple gigs at this cafe that used to be in Kinnelon, New Jersey. It closed now, but so
Okay.
that was I was around 12 and 13 when I did my first gig out. And then from there, I sang in high school, I sang in college.
Okay.
Yeah, and I produced big shows actually in college, which was pretty cool.
Oh, no kidding.
Mhm.
So when did you realize that you had a love for singing? How old were you at that?
Like out of the womb, I was just
Really? No
yeah.
kidding. And like, were your mother and father musically inclined, or?
No, but my
Okay.
dad has collected jukeboxes and repaired and sells them
Okay.
since he was 18.
Oh, wow.
So by the time he had us, there'd be maybe like 20 jukeboxes in the basement. And
oh.
every single night he's just working on them, blasting records.
Oh, wow.
So I think I just started absorbing like sounds.
Right.
Music for me helped me cope with any sort of emotions I ever had.
Okay.
So I would just drift off and into space and start singing these like Middle Eastern runs. I didn't even know what I was doing. Like at a very
Interesting.
young age, I remember just being in the shower, like 5 years old, like, like doing
No
weird
kidding.
chromatic
Really?
scales.
Well, see, that's when you know somebody to me, that's how I feel, is that they're really gifted and that it just comes so natural to them.
Mhm.
My brother is a singer, and the same thing. He never had any voice lessons or anything, and his voice was just absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
And yours is too.
Thank
I
you.
have to say, I really enjoyed the show.
Thank you.
She killed it. So tell me, let's talk a little bit about American Idol,
Okay.
because I would think that that's a pretty big step.
Yeah.
You obviously were good enough to make the top 10. You were so close to the top 5.
Yeah.
But you know what? Things always happen for a reason.
Mhm.
Because let's face it, you get locked into that,
Yeah.
and sometimes that's good, sometimes that's bad, I
Right.
guess.
And I don't know how good it would be for me to be locked into that.
Right.
It's just my personality type.
Right.
I can't hide my feelings very well.
Well, I noticed that the last several years, there's been people that kind of, I don't know if they're deciding at the last minute it wasn't their cup of tea, and they bowed out and didn't go forward because you really thought they would, let's say, make it into the top 5 or
Mhm.
whatever. So it's not for everyone.
Mhm.
And at least you know yourself well enough
Mhm.
to say, you know what? No.
Yeah, well, it's just scary in any big machine, corporate machine type thing, with those kind of
Right.
contracts, you are bound to them between 4 and 8 years. So I think that would have been very challenging, which is not what scares me from it, but it's more so that I may lose my creative control, and that's very important to me.
That's really important. And 4 years is a long time.
Mhm.
8 years is definitely a very long
Mhm.
time. But as far as, let's go into the learning experience
Yeah.
of that situation, I would think was an important factor in your life.
Yeah, I always looked at the show as like a stepping stone and like a test.
Right.
For me, I had been gigging 13 gigs a week at that time when they approached
Wow.
me.
Were you?
I've done so much in music people don't even know about, starting with like playing with like old blues guys when I was 18 in clubs,
Uh-huh.
going to jazz bands in clubs, and then Zeppelin tributes to James Brown's previous band calling me to front them
Oh,
for
wow.
some big shows.
Oh, no kidding.
And then playing with like young rock prodigies like Brandon Taz Niederauer, who's amazing.
Okay.
And then doing stuff in LA with Vic Firth is a drum company. They
Okay.
have these things called VF Jams, and I was featured recently with Stevie Wonder's drummer.
Oh, no
And it's a
kidding.
really cool video if anybody wants to see it. VF Jams.
Oh, yeah.
Stanley Randolph is his name.
Okay.
And that went viral actually. And it was one of the coolest experiences of my life because it's just a huge room full of
amazing musicians that play with huge pop stars, and just getting to do this like fun funk thing
Right,
with a live
right.
audience. So anyway, I'm trailing off from the question, but
No. I think it's very interesting, and actually, I like it brought to mind. So, out of all your experiences, what would you say is your most memorable?
um, well, Idol is very in the forefront of my mind, but I try very hard to not let it define me because,
Right.
like I said, it was a stepping stone and it was almost a test.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've had all these experiences now. Put me under this pressure cooker to see how well I can do.
Right.
That's kind of the way I was looking at it.
Right.
And exposure. But I think so that's very memorable because it was so huge. It was such a big deal.
Right. And it wasn't
Especially
just
for
a
my
one-day
family.
thing
Oh
either.
yeah, and it lasted so long. I mean, I
Right.
auditioned in July of 2011, and then the tour was over in October of 2012.
Right.
So it's almost a year and a half.
Right.
Something that was very memorable to me though, that I thought was a huge accomplishment, was when I was in college, my senior year. I threw a big concert. I did one junior year, but the senior year one was my memorable one.
Okay.
The school really like opened their arms and let me do this. There were some great professors in the college, like Steve Bailey is a well-known bass player. We did
Okay.
like a duet in it. Didn't have to pay anybody, which was really cool in college.
It's always better, yeah.
Yeah. So I was obsessed. I was in class just like writing like the production and thinking about all the details of the show all the time.
Wow.
I had dancers from the dance department in some of the songs. I had a 12-piece youth orchestra from high school.
Wow.
Play on some like Alicia Keys, Sam Cooke, Change is Gonna Come.
Oh, wow.
It was just, I had backup singers, everything, teachers. So that was one of my most memorable things. I got my own press. I didn't know what I was doing.
Right.
So
right.
for me to figure all that out on my own was a really big accomplishment. And then I'd say
so.
Idol.
I would say so. That's amazing because basically you're acting like director, choreographer, and putting it all together, and that is a huge accomplishment.
Yes.
You know,
Thank you.
I'm always amazed at actors that are actually directing and then acting
Right.
in their movie, and producing and all that it takes to be able to put all that together. And it's really, to me, like kind of having another sight of being able to see what how you want that final product to be, is truly amazing.
So this song, it's about that feeling you get when someone doesn't communicate, and it's just your mind is just on a loop, and it's a feedback loop, I call it. And so every time the thought goes around, you kind of add a little more anxiety to it and worry. And sometimes it's just so easy for someone to ease your mind, and that's what this is about. So I think you'll hear it in the lyrics. Ease my mind. Well, I was fine before I met you. Now I struggle with words in troubled times. Ease my mind. Don't expect to see me around. I don't expect to be let down. Well, I'll be used to nothing but this shaky ground. Ease my mind. Well, you know that I'm gonna let you. And if you don't wanna talk, baby, that's fine. Ease my mind. Don't expect to see you around. I don't expect to be let down. I'll be used And there's a really beautiful slide guitar solo in that song. My friend Wallace Mullinex, he's the best. We played together for like 12 years now. This song is called Lonely Soul. It is not yet released. I'm still working on it. I just can't get it right, the mix. But as an artist, you need to remind yourself that when you create a piece, you're marking a moment in time. So I have to say that to myself often. You're marking a moment in time because you know you can just work on it endlessly. And I'm kind of stuck that way on this song. So hopefully I can wrap it up soon for you. It's called Lonely Soul, I think. On the back porch, the wind moves like a train. The cool breeze off the waves, they roll me up, ease the pain. I've wondered why the man I love never feels the same. Was it something I did, something he can't explain? He's a lonely soul. There's so much more to love than I'll ever know. I'm a lonely soul. To think that my meant to be was meant for being alone. Drink wine, forget about time. Won't you take me to a place where you used to be mine? Oh, where I just wish I could get you off my mind. But my heart can't abide. He's a lonely soul. There's so much more to love than I'll ever know. I'm a lonely soul. To think that my meant to be was meant for being alone. He's got that heart like a child. Yeah, and a drive for a man's pain. And there's no mistaking he don't feel the same. Oh, and I wish I could go back. Yes, before you found me. I was on my own, but at least I was free. At least I was free. He's a lonely, lonely soul. There's so much more to love than I'll ever know. I'm a lonely soul. To think that my meant to be is meant for being alone. But he's a lonely soul. I said there's so much more to love than I'll ever know. And I'm a lonely soul. To think that my meant to be was meant for being alone.
Well, I wanted to ask you though, how was it meeting Steven Tyler? Because I would imagine that he is a pistol. You know, he's-
When I first met him, it was like very sweet, and we had like a quick it was very quick, all the
Okay.
conversations. They don't give us a lot of time
a
with
lot
them.
of time, right?
But we like bonded right away, you know.
Did you? Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, I love your voice, you know, and I was like, you're so beautiful. And actually, it was really cool. One time we did a group number, and I said as a joke, like, you should probably just let me start sitting on Steven Tyler's lap. And then they were like, okay. So they're like, okay, come on. They're like, you know, so because it was funny the other day, I haven't watched a lot of the footage unless somebody like recorded it and I'm at their house visiting and they want to see it.
Right.
So the other day someone pulled up that show. I'm like, where am I? And I forgot all about that.
Oh, wow.
And then the camera goes to me on like Steven's lap.
Oh, my gosh.
And I kiss him on the cheek. But so that was a cute moment. And you know, I gave him my friend at the time was making this really cool feather hair extensions.
I was going to mention that.
So
yes.
I got him one of those and put it in his hair.
And that was so perfect for him. I loved it. I was like, oh my God, because it hang down, you know, pretty long, you know, and it was very, that was
Although
really
he
great.
put it on his ear, which looked very painful. It's supposed to go in the hair.
Oh, is it?
One of those like, you know.
Oh, no kidding. Oh my.
What you call a roach clip. Yeah, so it's very sharp.
Oh,
tight.
that's a riot.
Like, that's not what it's
no,
fine. We'll figure it out.
Too funny. So I did actually watch that about Steven Tyler when you gave him the feather.
Nice.
And that's pretty funny that it was supposed to go in his hair.
Yes.
I thought it looked great where it was.
Yeah, it did, but I know
yes.
he was probably like, ow, you know, trying to act cool.
Did you tell him later that?
No,
Steven,
it was no time.
No.
He probably figured it out eventually.
Yeah, probably.
I think I was like, it's in your hair.
Oh, that's so funny. That is cute. So let's talk about, because Elise actually has an album that is out already, correct?
Yep, a couple. Mm-hmm.
Okay, and actually that's right here, and also CD. Mm-hmm. Now, are these totally different?
They're different, yeah. That's
okay.
the first one I did after Idol, so I think I was 29.
Okay.
So that's took a long time for me to record something. You know, I had demos, but yeah, I finally did that. So there's 10 songs on there. I self-produced. I wrote them all. Some help with the Charleston musicians, of course, with some of the production and arrangement.
Right.
Well, more the arrangement, but yeah, I was excited about that, and not to have a producer or a label or anything.
Right. Right.
And when I released one song, "I Will Not Break."
Which is a fantastic song,
Thank
actually.
you.
Actually, all of her songs are really fantastic.
Thank you.
No, so they're going to be pleasantly surprised.
But yeah, that one, I was so excited when I released it and I told the story the other night, but I was just sitting at the car dealership getting my oil changed, and I'm like, let me just check the iTunes charts and see if there's any action on this, because again, I didn't have a promoter or anything.
Right.
And I was like, it was number 6 on the charts.
Wow.
It was right under or before Ed Sheeran, and it was like Tracy Chapman and James Taylor, and then me.
Wow.
On the iTunes charts.
Oh my gosh, that is exciting.
So I was like, so I just got up from where I was and walked a mile in 100 degrees, and I got it tattooed on my wrist.
Oh no.
So I didn't want to forget.
Oh, is that what you have there?
Yeah,
okay.
so it's the title.
Oh, funny. Oh my gosh. Well, you know, that's one of the things that I also find so interesting, because so many young artists are producing themselves and promoting themselves, you know, and I often think to myself how difficult that has to be on one hand, you know, and then yet on the other hand, they have so much more control.
Yeah, I like the control. I think it's difficult as far I think the biggest struggle for all of us is money.
Right.
Thank God
Absolutely.
for people who believe in the arts, because everything is so expensive. We work so hard. We give everything for ourselves, but also for other people.
Right.
For this empathetic connection. And
right.
And we don't even have like insurance offered. You know, it's just like always a struggle with money. And just to make that album, I think I spent like $65,000 or something. Wow. I mean, I'm going down and down as I move forward, because that's just unattainable without a label.
Right.
But I did have a gracious donor for some of that.
Right. Did you do this in a studio, or did you do this
in a studio?
In a studio,
because I wanted to do it like legit. Like I had always dreamed of putting out my first album and having the whole booklet and the CD with photos and lyrics, and it's all in this like a 7-page booklet in there.
See, that's what I like. It's funny because, again, I realized that doing this is not a cheap endeavor at all. But I always love it when the artist gives you the words to
Yeah.
all the songs.
Me too. I just
love that.
And that's what I kept thinking, like when I was younger, what made me excited and what inspired me, and like let me like give some of that back, even because it's not really happening anymore where they have like booklets. 'Cause
No, they don't.
people don't really have CD players, and then they don't really read it, so they'll put it in their car or whatever.
Right.
So I'm like, I'm doing it. I don't care.
And it's funny because and my husband laughs at me, but like I'll listen to songs, and if there's no booklet or words, now of course you can pretty much look anything up, with Google. But prior to
Right.
that, I would just make up words.
Oh yeah, a lot of
myself.
bad lyrics.
I mean, I had to.
Now
It
that
was
we're
like,
older, looking back, I'm like, that's not what they're saying.
Yeah, and there's an artist that I have been listening to since the 70s, and it's so funny because there were no words when I bought an album and there were no words to it. And I finally looked up some of the words and I was like, wrong, Donna.
Oh yeah, totally.
You didn't get it right.
Oh yeah.
But it was a lot of fun. I have to laugh at that kind of thing, But I think as an artist, and this is my own opinion, but that it's a wonderful thing to do because you have followers already. People want to sing your songs and, they want to know the words. So I suggest do it all the time. But so tell me, what's going on? Where are you performing? I know obviously you did the event here this weekend. What's coming up? What do you have planned?
I have a few gigs in New Orleans coming up.
Oh, that'll be fun.
I love New Orleans. I usually go every May and I perform at the big jazz festival they have with, his name is Leo Nocentelli. He's a guitar player. He's a legend in New Orleans.
The name sounds so familiar.
He played
to me.
with the Meters, which is like some of the Neville Brothers, George Porter Jr. on bass, Zigaboo on drums. It's one of the most well-known bands in that area. But he wrote a song called Sissy Strat, which a lot of instrumentalists know. Most instrumentalists know.
Okay.
And he's just one of the funkiest guys. And his guitar takes have been sampled in tons of songs. You don't even know probably that you know him or that you're even listening to him, but they're sampled in a bunch of, like Aaliyah has it in hers, Justin Timberlake. And they just take these little bits of the guitar and they do cool things with it. And they're in all these pop songs and all sorts of things, hip hop.
Wow.
So, but anyway, he's in his 70s. He just actually released an album from 50 or 40 years ago that they found that was lost.
Oh, wow.
So he's like kind of touring with that too, which is completely different from his funk thing, which is what he's known for.
Right.
And it's called Another Side, Leo Nocentelli. And
interesting.
it's amazing. It's like a James Taylor singer-songwriter kind of vibe.
Oh, wow.
So he's been excited about that, like kind of almost like a boost in his career with this different avenue.
Right.
And in his 70s. So it's exciting,
absolutely. And especially being able to, it's kind of like going back in time for him, because it's something that, as you said, it was kind of lost and
he was completely lost.
Right.
And then I think the studio had closed, so they put all the masters in a storage unit, and then they auctioned off everything in the storage unit, and then it was in a record store, and then someone found it in the record store and then asked if they can re-release it and work with him on the label.
Oh my God, that is fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice when you hear stories like that, because let's face it, some of the greatest artists, are in their 70s now, and many of them are getting a second or third chance, which is so hard to do.
So anyway, at the jazz festival, what we do is like the funk stuff. And it's amazing. Have you ever been there? Do you know about it?
I've never gone, no.
Oh, it's one of the most amazing festivals, I think, ever, because the city has so much culture and vibe, and the sound that comes out of there is really not like anywhere else I've been.
That much, like the little bit that I do, that you hear from it, you're right. There is no other place that you're going to get that vibe.
Yeah.
It's kind of like going years back when in the 60s and 70s, when you'd go to LA and the music vibe there, and there were all those nightclubs that all these different bands, and they would, jump from club to club, and it's the same same kind of
Yeah,
thing.
and what's cool about it is at the festival they have like huge acts like Stevie Nicks or Erykah Badu, James Taylor, Bonnie Raitt, so I've met all these people because of this opportunity singing with Leo. They're changing the stage over, and then maybe like Buddy Guy and Bonnie. They did this huge blues thing with Dr. John right before he passed. Buddy Guy, Bonnie Raitt, a ton of people. I got to meet all of them. And then at nighttime, all these maybe like second level of fame under
Right.
that are all playing in these dive bars.
Wow.
So
Wow.
that's the first year I went, which I think was 2016. I had 5 gigs or something. And then in between them all, I would just go to all the dives and people would start to remember my face. So they'd be like, you, come on. And they just call me on stage because they know that not a lot of singers are huge improvisers, but some of us are. And I love to improvise and make it up on the spot. So they would just call me up and say, let's go. You know what to do.
Right.
This next song, this is called Still We Try. It's on my album In This Life. It's one of my favorites. I don't play it that often, so this is a treat.
Gold amber shine down on your face. You make sure everything's in place. They're watching you with 1,000 eyes. An actor at his best all day. He doesn't hear a word you say. Let him tempt you with his smile. I'm starting to feel like I'm misled. Find me a place to lay my head. Still we try to stand, still we fall. Sometimes walking does no good at all. Try to work it out. Yeah, follow your shadow like a damn fool. And no, they always get too close to you. Try to work it on out. You're pacing back and forth in blue, forgetting everything you knew. Why don't you take a look around? You know this story all so well. In 30 seconds time you'll tell that you walk this ground. I'm starting to feel like I'm misled. Find me a place to rest my head. Still we try to stand, still we fall. Sometimes walking does no good at all. Try to work it on out. Yeah, follow your shadow like a damn fool. And no, they always get the best of you. Try to work it on out. Believing you're achieving good. Forgetting the same place you stood. Still they always look so proud. Don't you let them bring you down, 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 down. Try to stand, still we fall. Sometimes walking does no good at all. Try to work it on out. Yeah, you follow your shadow like a damn fool. And no, they always get the best of you. Try to work it on out. We all strive to feel satisfied, but we can't confide in life. No, but still we try.
All right, this next song is the first single I ever released in my entire life. It's called I Will Not Break.
can pretend that I'm not down to keep you around. I will not fall. I will stand tall through it all, just so you can see the strongest parts of me. Do you know? Does it show? I'm trying hard to hold back. I can't run down, chasing you around. My heart is under attack. Said it's under attack. I will not break. I will not bend. Oh, but I can pretend that I'm not awake. But do you know? Does it show? I'm trying hard to hold back. I can't run down, chasing you around. My heart is under attack. Said it's under attack. I will not break. I will not bend. Oh, but I can pretend that I'm not awake. Oh, I can pretend that I'm not awake. Oh, I can pretend that I'm not awake. Oh, I can pretend that I'm not awake.
So it's 2 weeks, is it?
I usually go for
the-
2 weeks because but it's usually Thursday to Sunday, 2 weeks in a row.
Okay. And that's right in New Orleans.
Right in New
In
Orleans.
the New Orleans area. I know this is going to sound crazy, but it's so funny because I've had lots of friends go to New Orleans and they'll say, there's a definite odor in New Orleans.
Odor? I mean, it's an old, think about how many times they got destroyed by hurricanes.
Exactly. And that's, when you think about it. And then, of course, all the people drinking and, partying in the
It's a big,
streets.
especially during Jazz Fest. I mean,
Right.
there was a couple times where I walked out of the bar and it was 7 a.m. I'm like, what? I mean, not because I was drinking. I was really
Right.
just doing music.
Right.
I'm not really a big drinker, to be honest, but I was like, it's sunny.
Right,
Like, I didn't
right,
expect that.
right.
But, you can blame the odor on the funk. It's the funky music scene, man. They got that dirty funk.
Yeah. No, and you know what? It's kind of when people would say that to me, but it's what makes New Orleans, that it's just like the music, you can't go anywhere else to get that same sort of vibe and feeling. And I would imagine for musicians that it is very invigorating in a way.
It's inspiring.
It's got to be.
Mm-hmm.
It really does. That's like I danced most of my life. And the other night when we left here, we had parked up the street. I see all these, there's a big building and I see all these like lights inside. And it wasn't, like Halloween lights. It was like, and then I hear the beat, the boom, boom, boom. And I'm like, it's a dance club.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God, I want to dance.
Yeah.
So I said, I got to ask David about that. But have to get there. So anyway, so tell me, so are you working on another album or?
I went back to Charleston in February of this year because I used to live in Charleston, South Carolina forever. That's where I made the first album.
Okay.
And I started recording 3 songs. I thought I was going to release an EP. So my thing is, I get torn sometimes with like how hard to lean into a genre that I do because my voice lends itself to multiple genres.
Right.
So I love jazz, I love soul, I love funk, I love singer-songwriter. So Americana kind of works for me, but I'm not good at, I'm not really into like putting myself in a box like that.
Right.
Hence probably not winning American Idol because they're all about the box.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, which is fine, but it's just for me.
Right. Right.
I have so many feelings and emotions, and they almost come out in different genres in different ways at different times.
Right.
So I was very like gung-ho about I'm a singer-songwriter, that's it. Like I'm gonna choose and stick.
Right.
And now I'm like, I don't know if that's it for me,
Right.
But at the core of it all, yes, I am a singer-songwriter.
Right.
So it is kind of it, but people think of that in a different way. Maybe like James Taylor only, but you've heard my voice. Like I got the Zeppelin and the funk and the soul.
Right.
Well, I just recorded 3 songs, but I released 1.
Okay.
And it was called Mama, I Love You. And I can actually play that today.
Oh, that would be very nice.
Because I didn't play that the other night for my mom on Mother's Day.
Oh.
But it was also I feel like since I've traveled and lived in different places, I have a lot of adopted families. So yes, I think of my mom the most when I sing this song, but I also think of those who have guided and helped me throughout the years living in South Carolina. And even as a kid, my former best friend, I don't speak anymore, but her mother was like,
like a mom to you.
Yeah, like her cool aunt. I don't know, but
Right.
I think of all these people when I'm singing this, and I think of my friends who have like 4 kids and 3 kids, and just how strong they are. So it really goes out to just every mother,
Every mother, right? That makes sense.
So
to
it was
me.
special. It was a special song. And the other 2, I just kind of have waiting. One I wrote with my good dear friend Paul Halsey.
Okay.
I just sang at his wedding in Arizona. It's his second marriage. It was the most beautiful wedding.
Oh, how nice.
Not a dry eye in the room.
Really? Oh my God.
He's an amazing person. He's like an angel. He's helped me so much. He helped me make this album. We wrote a song together. And I'm just going to tell you quickly, because I think it's cool, that he was about to get this surgery, Whipple surgery.
Okay.
They take out your organs, they remove cancer, they put them back in
Oh
your
my
body.
God.
It's very scary.
Wow.
And I had just lost my aunt, and then I heard he was getting this surgery, and I was, oh man, like I don't know if I can handle if anything happens to him. I just love him so much, and my aunt just passed, and I can't handle this.
Right.
So I was like, I need to put good energy out there. So when I had seen him the last time in Charleston, he had handed me lyrics he wrote that morning.
Oh, wow.
He got all excited to meet me for lunch, and he wrote it all out. He's like, I think this is for you.
Oh.
So I was like, what can I do to like spread good vibes and energy? So I came across the lyrics and my notes, and I'm going to finish this song right now. So I made all the music. I called people. They recorded their parts, and I made him a demo, and I surprised him. So he listened to it right before he had to go.
Oh, wow.
And he said it just like helped him so much keep his mind off things, and he was so excited about what we created together.
Right.
So we recorded that, and it's gorgeous. So I'm just waiting for the right moment to release it.
Oh my gosh. Oh.
We were thinking maybe I would record more songs to mix in with that style, and then have a double album and maybe do a live album on the other side.
Oh, neat.
So that's the thought right now.
Wow, that's a lot.
It's a lot, yeah. So we'll see. It might take a little bit of time, but it might not.
I think that's a beaut. So many people don't get the opportunity to collaborate and to create something, musically or artistically, even if, let's say, painting or there's so many ways that you can collaborate, writing a script together or things like that. But something like that, to be able to take something that he started and then add to it is just,
Yeah.
oh, that is so touching.
So this is a very special
Oh my,
song. It's called Let It Be Me.
oh,
No, Let Me Be Me. Sorry.
let me be me.
That's a different song.
Wow. Oh my gosh. Well, I'm looking forward to, actually, I got your CD the other day, but I'm, looking forward to hearing new stuff.
Yeah.
I'll have to also get this was your first album?
No,
and
this was the first one.
Oh, this is your first.
And then
okay.
this one I released, this was has more vibe from my influence of New York. So I
Okay.
lived in Brooklyn for 5 years.
Okay.
And there's amazing musicians on here that you may or may not have heard of, but one is Mono Neon.
Uh-huh.
He's pretty popular right now. He played with Prince for his last couple years.
Okay.
Prince's last years. And
Right.
he's an incredible bass player. He's very
it
like
really?
out there.
Wow.
There's nobody like him. So we're very good friends, and he's playing bass on a few tracks. There's some players from a band called Snarky Puppy, which is a very well-known huge instrumental band that's like huge, like 16 people. Like there's a lot of people in the band, also popular.
Right.
And then the kid who's now not such a kid anymore, he's 19, but we played together since he was like 10.
Wow.
He played guitar when he was 6 or 8 on Ellen, just shredding
No
better than
kidding.
like 55-year-olds. So we wrote a song together as well.
Oh,
and it's on there. It's the
wow.
last track called Tell Me
Oh,
Now.
neat. Oh,
And I love it. And there's just great people all over that thing.
I love hearing stories like that, and it is so amazing that, you, as you said, he started playing at what, 6 years old or
I just was
even-
singing as soon as I could speak.
Oh, wow. Just amazing.
Yeah.
I love stories like this.
This song is called Mama, I Love You. And it was released the last Mother's Day that just passed. My mom is amazing. She's very supportive. And I love her so much. So this is for my mom, but it's also for all the moms out there and all the adopted moms I've had throughout the years and all the different places I've lived. And it's a beautiful song written by myself and Christy Jacks that lives in South Carolina. Some days are heavy-handed, hard to even breathe. The world keeps on spinning under my feet. Some days I wanna give up, ready to lose a fight. Then I think about you, you tell me it'll be alright. Oh, lost so much, still here you are. Oh, standing proud for us to follow. You taught me to be strong, to keep moving on with a smile on my face. So much love to give. Show me right from wrong, how to get along with beauty and grace. How can I deny you? 'Cause mama, I love you. Some days I'm at a crossroad, don't know which way to go. Then I hear your voice, your cautious mind, telling me to go slow. You only want the best for me, that's why I see things through. I said I don't know who I'd be right now if I never had you. Oh, lost so much, still here you are. Oh, standing proud for us to follow.
show me right from wrong, how to get along with a smile on my face, so much love to give. Show me right from wrong, how to get along with beauty and grace. How can I deny you? Oh, tell me to be strong. Keep moving on with a smile on my face. So much love to give. Show me right from wrong, how to get along with beauty and grace. How can I deny you? 'Cause mama, I love you. I walk the avenue, like I know where I'm going. There's always a new destination. Oh, in this dream where I'm constantly chasing. I know I'm prepared. Yes, I do. Gotta pick my head up high. No need to be tired. I can run down, chasing you around. My heart is under attack. Say it's under attack. I will not break. I will not bend. No. Oh, that runaway feeling, the thing that tells you you should stay, reason you give yourself every day because you keep believing this crazy feeling is love. Is love. Now, baby, that runaway feeling, that thing that tells you you should stay, reason you give yourself.
Well, what I do want to do is, if anybody wanted to get in touch with you, how do they go about doing that?
So my website is elisetestone.com. So it's ELISETESTONE.com. There's a contact page on there with an email address.
Okay.
There's a newsletter you can subscribe to. There's music, and then all my tour dates are on there as well.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay. And so in the local area, now you're going to be traveling back which way? I know you.
So I'm kind of temporarily in New England area near Boston and
Oh,
Providence.
really? Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, so I do have some shows there coming up. I just did a big Amy Winehouse tribute, a 9-piece band. I do this at least a few times a year, or
Okay.
at least once a year, but a few times. And so we just did a 9-piece band in the Odeum Theater in East Greenwich. You know, a few hundred people came.
Wow.
I mix in all the original music, so it's perfect because I
Right.
have the horn section and the backup singers and everything.
Wow.
So I love doing the Amy shows. Anyway, I just love Amy.
Well, that's one of the
That's
things.
what brought us here, right?
Yeah, yeah. Unfortunately, you're not going to get her to hear her do Amy's songs today. She's going to be doing all her own original. But I can tell you that she kills Amy's songs. I mean, you do them justice.
Thank
And when
you.
I say kill, she does them justice.
Thank you.
So yeah, no. And then I love your own stuff, which I find it so interesting that many artists don't get to do their original stuff because when they go out, people always like to hear, songs that they're familiar
know.
with.
Yeah.
Yes, songs that they're familiar with. But my thing is how will people, get familiar with yours if you don't get the opportunities to sing them?
Yeah, and
you
I have
know?
something to say about that.
And
when you're
that's
done.
why we have people do original here because I want to push that sort of thing, I mean.
Yes.
Covers are great, but getting your own original stuff out there, which obviously you're doing.
Something that really bothered me actually, because after the show, I'll make it quick, but after the show, I was trying really hard to move forward, and they don't help
Right.
you. They're just like, done. They don't pass along. If somebody calls them and asks about me, they don't tell me.
Really?
So, and
Oh,
I'm sure
interesting.
somebody looked at it as a money-making opportunity. Someone was just on TV.
Right.
So it's not even like an ego thing. It's just like, come on. Like, because the guy's like,
Exactly.
nobody called. Like, not one person is looking to make money off of someone that was just had exposure.
Right.
So I worked really hard to try to find the right manager, find the right booking agent, find the right people.
Right.
And it's really hard to do that. So, there were some older folks that were in the industry that said they can help me wrangle a good team for myself. Instead, they're just taking $1,000 retainer a month, and I have no team by a couple months. But I'm trying to give them a fair chance.
Right.
And not, because I obviously have trust issues. I've been through a lot. I've been lied to and all that. So, so I'm trying to give them a fair chance. So then I work with this next guy who's kind of like, was a big deal at some point. I'm not going to say names. And he was saying, this goes along to what you were saying about the original music.
Right.
I sent him a video of a huge concert I had in Charleston. I have big shows at the music hall there. And I did a song of mine called I'm Running, which I think is pretty epic. I never perform it, actually. I kind of forgot about it for a second. It's an epic song. It's got sections. It's got horns. It's big.
Right.
The rock, sweet parts. And then I also performed Kashmir because in a way, Kashmir influenced that song.
Okay.
So he's like, this song I'm running, I don't get it. With the Kashmir, that's it. That's really where it's at. I'm like, but that song.
Right.
So it's nostalgic to you. It excites you.
Right.
I'm like, you don't know my song.
Right.
If you spent time with the song, you may feel exactly the same sentiment as you would with Kashmir.
Right.
So so I appreciate you saying that, because how are you going to be familiar with something if you don't know it?
Right. Yeah. And as I said, so many artists are out there playing in clubs and they're doing covers, and you have to give them the opportunity to put in their own thing. And so that's what my show is all about.
Thank
is
you.
Giving
I appreciate you.
gaps. So anyway, I want to thank everyone for joining us. Again, Elise Testone, look her up. You're also on Instagram.
Yeah, I use Instagram the most if anyone's curious.
Yeah. So, check her out.
Facebook.
Go to YouTube. You can find her on 2012 American Idol. Anyway, everyone, thank you again. Have a good week.
Thank you.